Chapter 9, Using Lookup Functions.
So let's start by exploring what is VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is nothing but a vertical lookup. So by vertical lookup means we are looking for values in a vertical direction. So to give a use case where VLOOKUP is used, let's say we have this data coming from the previous exercise and we have this sales area code, and let's say we want to extract the sales in US dollars against the respective sales area code. So we have picked four of these from this column. So for in E001 we have the sales area code here. So a manual way to do it would be just put it like this and then search this one N002 from here and then put the corresponding value here, so on and so forth. So how do we do it automatically? We use VLOOKUP, and VLOOKUP is something like this. We look up bracket start and then we type in the other parameters which I'll show you now. So let's try to understand how VLOOKUP function works. So if I write VLOOKUP, Excel prompts to enter the lookup value. So lookup value is in this case the sales area code. Then it asks for the table array. So table array is the entire table in which we want to search. Then it asks for column index number, so which is the value that we want to search, which is sales in US dollar. So what is the position of that column from the lookup value column? So in this case, lookup value column is which is always 1, then 2, 3, and 4. So column index number is 4, and then we have an option to write the range lookup. So let's explore this. So in this case, the lookup value is N002, and then it automatically highlights table array next. So our table array is this table. Now, one important point which people fail to understand is the sales area code or the lookup value and the value that we were trying to pull out from this table, which is the sales in US dollar against this value. So the lookup value, or in this case sales area code, has to be on the left side of the value being pulled out. So it cannot be that let's take an example. So it cannot be that we have our sales in US dollar here and our area code here, and then we cannot use VLOOKUP using this to find this. So the sales in US dollar has to be on the right of the lookup column. So this is a very important concept. So let's undo this and come back to our VLOOKUP. Okay, so now we'll write the VLOOKUP formula. So VLOOKUP and then lookup value, then the table array. So table array, or the table that has to be selected, should be such that the first column is always the lookup value column. So in this case, this is the column. So we'll always select from column B and then up till the column which we want to pull out data from. You can select more, but not less. Okay, so this is the entire column. Also note, this is a very important trick, that in the next entry is column index number. So when you're selecting this column or this table rather, so you see that over here Excel is giving us a prompt which is 36R cross 2C, which means we have selected 36 rows and 2 columns. So if I move one more to the right, it's 3C, which is third column as compared to the first one, 1, 2, and 3, and then this one is 4. So this is a very handy trick to find out the location of the column from which we are extracting the information, or the column index number. So in this case, the column index number is 4, right? So we have selected our array, And then while selecting, we also found out that the column index is 4, or we are extracting the fourth column from this table. And then uh, you see Excel prompts true for approximate match and false for exact match. So for the purpose of this training video, we'll just stick to 0, or which is also equivalent to false. You can write false also. So to make it simpler, we write 0 and then we close it. So now we get our corresponding value to N002. If you want to check, we just search for N002, which is N002, and we have 3849, so which is actually matching. Now, one important concept here, if I drag it down, so if we press F2, we see that this entire table is selected, right? And if I see this formula, we see that the table gets shifted one row down. And if I do it more, then again, selection gets shifted one row down. So taking cue from our cell referencing lesson, we need to fix this table. So how do we fix it? We just click F4 and then we have fixed it. Now if we drag it, you see the entire table is selected and it's fixed. Also, since we have selected this table, the selection does not go all up to the bottom. So let's select it to the bottom. Just see that it's from B2 to E42. And then if we drag this formula, we have this VLOOKUP working fine for us. So that's a basic idea about the VLOOKUP function.